everyone. It's nice to be here. Thank you for such a warm welcome. And I just wanted to start out by saying that I'm honored to be in a room with so many advocates for truth and justice and peace. I'm not familiar with the young gentleman's name who spoke right before Gary, but I only caught the tail end of that speech, but I felt that, man. I'm going to go with you on that ride. Now, admittedly, I didn't prepare a speech as I sometimes do, so I just brought a couple of things to read, I guess, for general inspiration. One of the things that I'm very, very happy about and encouraged about is that the need for, I think we still need people who are prominent in the entertainment industry or who have a name to come forward and speak to draw attention to this issue. But the fact that yesterday we had scientists for 9/11 Truth and military officers for 9/11 Truth and actors and artists for 9/11 Truth launch officially their websites and present. I was very, very heartened by that, and it just makes me feel like the time is coming when, you know, the entertainers will be able to step back and not have to point their finger in the direction of those whose opinions should be being heard and should be being allowed on mainstream media platforms. So hopefully that day is coming. So anyway, I'm going to start by just reading, actually this is a tweet that I sent out. This is how I use my Twitter. I feel like there's no point to having a name or being a quasi-celebrity if you can't put it behind things that matter, so that's how I use social networking. This is how I use social networking sites like Twitter. So the subject came up actually about Rescue Me having gotten on, 9/11 Truth having been introduced as a plot line on Rescue Me, and I responded, pardon me for this being out of context. Much indeed has been made of my views on 9/11 itself, and these views even made it onto the show. A common misconception, however, is that these views are mine, per se. This is not so. My views are the result of a sober re-examination of the events of that terrible day, as well as the explanations given by the government for how it happened. Sorry, I lost my place. In the final analysis, I simply could not ignore the broad-shouldered research, strident dissent, and informed criticism from so many highly credentialed skeptics across such a broad spectrum of relevant expertise. The fact that mainstream media and our so-called free press has had nothing but condescension and dismissal to offer in response only intensifies my own doubts as to the veracity of the official conspiracy theory. I think it is easy to forget, and therefore bears repeating, that without the new Pearl Harbor of 9/11, there would be no wars based upon lies in either Afghanistan or Iraq. There would be no Patriot Act. There would be no torture memos. There would be no warrantless wiretapping. There would be no naked body scanners. There would be no $500 million permanent military bases in Iraq or elsewhere in the Middle East. And there would have been no no-bid contracts doled out to corporations incestuously linked to an administration that lied the American people into co-signing the murderous doctrine of preemption in the first place. The fact that 60% of the 9/11 Commission members have, for various reasons, defected from endorsing their own findings. The fact that peer-reviewed scientific study reveals the presence of high-tech explosive residues found in ground zero dust samples. And the fact that Building 7 fell symmetrically into its own footprint at free-fall speed and through the path of greatest resistance without having been hit by an airliner. These facts and others should give us and the mainstream media pause and cause us to ask questions, demand answers maybe. America was founded on dissent. If we can't ask questions, demand answers, and engage in thoughtful criticism of our so-called leaders, then what democratic republic have we to speak of? And that wraps up that tweet that I sent. So this is just how I live my life, year-round. I'm going to keep coming to these events every single year until we see the real progress that we all want to see, the justice that we want to see. I'm also very heartened by the fact that now it's not just about getting help for the first responders. It's not just about 9/11 truth. It's about the contextual implications of all of this. You know, the magnitude of the problem now, the fact that we're getting hit from every angle, socioeconomically, we're salivating to go into Iran. You know, who knows, when presidential politics and foreign policy intersect, that's usually when you see state crimes against democracy, right? SCAD research. You know, these things are real, and if we don't pull the plug on this show of horrors, then we're only going to have more of that to look forward to in the future. I'm going to wrap up my comments now. I was told definitely to plug the Building What campaign. For those of you who haven't seen it, I know that actually everybody in this room knows this, so I guess this is going out mostly to these comments mostly to the audience to whom we're streaming, who may not be acquainted with this information. Definitely check out the Building What campaign at buildingwhat.org. It's a wonderful campaign. There's a great video that I narrated that compares the Zapruder film of Kennedy being assassinated with the fall of Building 7, and how some images just speak in the language of common sense and can change the way people see certain events, not through the lens of the distorted lens of the media. Okay, thank you. God bless you all.